Hello and welcome back to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm Gail Thompson and I'm so excited to be part of the Pear Blossom Press Easy Light Up Cards Hop and Giveaway. The giveaway is international. You will have a week to enter from today and more details will be down in the description box below. And also the next stop of the hop will be right at the top. Today I'm going to be making a galaxy card. And I'm using distress inks, not oxides, because I don't want that chalky look. And those were all the colors. I've got some Bristol smooth paper. And all I'm doing is slapping on some color. You don't want it to be perfect circles or anything like that. But don't worry, it's going to look like a hot mess, like most of my cards do in the beginning. But it'll turn out just fine. If you've ever done a galaxy card, you know what it takes. You know, I just sat down to do this and now my neighbor decides to mow. Hopefully I can block him out a little bit. So now we have the marmalade going on and I'm using a brush for that one. It really wouldn't matter if you slopped it on with your fingers. It doesn't matter. Just get some color down and the distress inks will work their magic. I hope everybody is doing okay. It has been just bizarre, hasn't it? I mean, there just are no words for what we've been going through. All of us have a little different story, but it's still been kind of a nightmare. I'm blessed to still have a job, although it makes me crazy. But I'm hoping that you are well and that everything gets back to somewhat normal soon. I'm just getting done with the last of my distress inks. And there's the scary part. You're going to take some black soot and we're just going to put it kind of all over the top in a fairly decent thickness of it. It can vary. You don't want it to be solid black, but you can't make a mistake with this. Trust me, that's why I like it. I make mistakes with everything else. As a matter of fact, I'll show you one later. You just got to go with the flow nowadays. So I'm taking my distress sprayer and just putting some water droplets on the top and I let it sit for, maybe 15 seconds or so. And then I blot it up with a clean paper towel, but not clean hands. I wind up getting really inky with this. And I add a little, you can just go to town on this and do whatever you want. Now I'm adding some water to some Copic white ink. It happens to be a water-based ink. And on an old toothbrush, and I'm just splattering just for some more depth and texture. And you really can't make a mistake with this either. So, hey, I'm all for it. Crafting, it isn't even so much making perfection, it's how to disguise imperfection, don't you think? I have gotten to become an ace at that. Off screen, I went ahead and cut out some Lawn Fawn Out of This World images. That's an older set, but it's a really cute set. And I used some glossy accents for the window of the rocket and for his little helmet. And I'm just going to place these, kind of out and see how I'm gonna handle this. Seriously, we have stay-at-home orders. I work all week. Why can't they tune up their Harley another time? Oh my gosh. Those are the days of my life. So back to the card. I'm just going to place these out and I'm going to see where to put my little stars that I'm going to have light up. These Pear Blossom Press lights, they're called Easy Lights, are fabulous and so much easier than the lights I'd used before. I just can't say enough about them. But I'm going to get the placement so, I kind of spread it out. You always want to do things in, odd numbers. There goes the Harley again. And I'm going to use some stars from another die set, something I found randomly. And you like to use odd numbers because it's more appealing to the eye. So once I get this kind of sort of the way I like it. I just snap a quick picture of it. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. That way I can take everything off and tape the dies in place with the purple tape. Now with that purple tape, you want to definitely take some of the tack off of it. Once you put it through, my Gemini Junior especially, you just really don't want to ruin all your pretty work on top. I'm going to trace out where my stars are, just lightly. That way I know where I'm going to put my lights. I've also taken some vellum and just slopped some yellow on. I tried several different colors, and it doesn't even matter that it's all runny like that, you know, streaky. Since it's on vellum, it's kind of hard to get it to be even. Those were Copic markers. I also use Copic on the little figures. And I don't color usually on screen because it is nothing special what I do. Now I'm going to put a little extra oomph to the card by doing one of these little mini action wobblers. I just think that he should be out and loose in the sky, wobbling around. And they're just fun to have, and you just have to be careful. There are regular size ones and there are mini ones. This is a mini one, and it just barely fits behind his head without seeing it. And I'm adding a little silver thread to kind of replicate the little hose that they're usually attached to with their ship. And I'm just going to start gluing down things and placing things. I spend quite a lot of time agonizing over this sort of thing. Other people can just poof, and it's beautiful. I'm not one of those people. I'm just going to glue flat a lot of this because this card's going to have a lot of dimension because I'm going to put foam tape behind it. So I don't want to have it be super, super thick and bulky. I probably would still hand this to my recipient because I'm not the best foam taper in the back. You'll see. And now I'm just going to add my little ship. I just can't decide which way I want him to go. So everything's pretty much glued down. I did not glue down the little planet that says it's sort of a Saturn, odd color Saturn. I didn't glue that one down for a reason. I'm going to do that the very last thing. Now, I'm fairly certain that when they're actually out in space, the rocket doesn't have any fuel. They're propelled by very little fuel. I've watched my movies, and I think that's only for takeoff. But it's a cute little element, so I'm going to leave it. And I guess I forgot to glue my other little planet, so... Now we're going to get to the fun part. Here is the Easy Light set by Pear Blossom Press. That's hard to say. Amanda Stevens is such a nice, sweet gal, and her husband and her make these, and they're so clever. They're just little LED lights, and they're so easy to put on a card. It's just a revelation to me because it used to be a real ordeal to put them on. And I'm just gonna, if you can see the little pencil marks that I made, I'm just going to place the light right in the middle of those. I'm trying to flip over the light, and I just tape it down with some Scotch tape. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm going to do the same for the other two lights. You want to be careful to not put a sharp curve. You want to just kind of round out your wire because you wouldn't want to break the wire. Otherwise, it won't work, and you certainly don't want to cut the wire. And then you just tape the rest of it down so that it's kind of out of the way. Nobody's going to see it. Now I'm just testing out that I've got it in the right place. By the way, the galaxy background, I used an infinity die from Hero Arts. Boy, you just don't want to look at the back of any of this. My grandma used to say you wanted to make the back as nice as the front. Well, Not in this case. So I'm adding some foam tape. This is actually 3 layers of the Simon Says Stamp Big Mama roll tape because it's a little thinner than the rest. I just want to make sure I'm far enough off the edge. Now here's the secret. I only untaped. Duh, I didn't untape. I just only took the cover off. What do we call that? Release paper. Jeez. I only took it off the edges. You don't really have to, you just want the loft in the middle. You don't really need to glue it down, and it makes it easier to get it off if you mess something up. Hint, hint. Yes, it looks beautiful, doesn't it? But when I was putting in that cleverly laid foam tape, I forgot to allow a spot for the actual battery pack. So eventually I realized that it was just going to stay on all the time, and well, that's not going to work. So I was able to pull off the back of pull off the front of my card without ruining it, which is a miracle in itself. And since I didn't unstick the middle, yay, it was a lot easier. So I put the card back together. So now you know my dirty little secrets. I put the card back together, and I have some pretty pink posh silver little mini star confetti. And when I say mini, I don't even think that's the word for it. These are microscopic, and they're kind of difficult to put on. And I was just going to put on a few, but then it was like, well, that spot really could use one. And now that I've got so many, I really need to even it out. And yeah, and it started sticking on the end of my jewel picker too. It was just one thing after another, I tell you. And I'm not sure, I didn't show you, but I glued that press right over the spot where the battery for the lights are. I think that was just, I didn't have the camera rolling at the time. But it's easiest to do that last. That way you just feel around and you know you're putting it on the right spot. But isn't this the cutest thing ever? And those lights really were easy. And, you know, my coloring is not the greatest, but hey, I had fun. The recipient's going to enjoy it, and I'm so glad you stopped by on this hop. I hope you give those lights a try. They really are fun. All the information will be below for both the drawing and for these lights and all the other supplies as well. I hope you'll consider subscribing, liking, commenting, and come back soon. Until then, stay safe, keep crafting, keep a good attitude, and send someone a card. Bye-bye.